Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do another story time. The title might seem a little bit dramatic, and I usually hate when YouTubers have these outrageous titles, but I have to say that I really felt that way, and this story is 100% true. No lie. It happened a couple of months ago, maybe probably 2 months ago, and the story has scarred me till this day. So let's get started. So I was at a friend's house, and we were drinking. Not drinking to get drunk, but we were definitely a bit tipsy. So usually when I'm at her house, I will take an Uber home. Your girl doesn't have money like that, but sometimes when it's late, you just feel really lazy. And where I live, my bus stops running at midnight. So if you try to get to my house after midnight when the bus stops running, you can either walk 20 minutes from the subway station, or you can take an Uber. That is probably an 8-minute drive. If no traffic, maybe less than that. So I decided this day that, okay, it's gonna be Uber. I always take Uber Pool because I don't have money like that. And my experiences have kind of been all over the place. Sometimes it's a good ride and meet a lot of people, good conversation. Sometimes it's quiet, don't talk to anybody. And then there's kind of like some of the stuff just buried in the middle. So I decide to go to my subway station and take an Uber from there home. So it's always less than $10. So I don't remember how much I paid that day, but I was like, my buses stopped running, I'll just take an Uber home instead of waiting. So there's multiple exits to a subway station, and I usually wait at this specific subway entrance, but it's kind of hidden and it's not on the main road. So then I thought, okay, no, that's gonna kind of be out of their way. It's gonna maybe be harder for them to find me. Let me go on the main road and wait for the Uber there. So I requested it on the main road. So I am usually not wearing glasses, and I wear glasses, so half the time I'm walking around blind. And I'll just look at the app, and I'll just look at the car and see the same car color. Then as I get closer, I will check the license plates. It's only happened once that I've gotten into a car that wasn't an Uber, I don't think. But I don't understand why these people didn't say anything until I realized this was not the car. So I saw the man, and he was like on one side of the street and I was on the other side. And I know it would be better for him to come on my side because that's the side he will be driving. It's like 1 or 2 in the morning, so there's not traffic. You didn't have to worry about avoiding causing a collision or anything. You can just make the U-turn and come back in. So he does that, and we start driving off just down the street. So I'm kind of like just not into it. I never sleep in an Uber or anything like that, but I was kind of just glued to my phone and stuff. I know I was gonna be home in no time. So I look, and then I see that we have to pick up somebody, and this person is like 10-15 seconds away. Like, he's standing on the main road too. So I was like, okay. So I said like, oh, I must have said something like, oh, like we have to go pick up someone else. So the Uber driver was like, oh yeah, like if he didn't know that he was gonna have to pick up someone else. So I'm like, we kind of have to turn around and go a little bit back to where we came from. But the guy, he was like right there. So then the Uber driver he does a U-turn and he starts driving in the other direction. He starts driving, but he's not driving. Mind you, this guy is like 10 seconds away, 10 seconds just driving, or maybe like 30 steps away. We did have to turn around, but like it would have been a quick turnaround and a U-turn and it's back to where we were started. So he started driving the other way, and because I knew he had to pick up the guy in 2 seconds, so I kind of was just like, oh, okay. So, and he turned around, I was like, okay, I'm on my phone, I'm doing my own thing, and then I realized, wait, he didn't stop, and I'm looking, and I'm like, wait, what is going on? And so like where I would live, I live on blank blank east, so it's the east side, and he was driving blank blank west on the west side, and he was driving like that's where I live down there. So I was like, as I looked, and he had no intentions of stopping or I started like panicking, because I'm like, oh my god, like, is he gonna take me away, or what's gonna happen? And I'm like, oh my god, this is where I get kidnapped. I might have to I'm gonna just open the car door and jump out and roll and stuff like this. And then I said, like, sir, like, sir, you're going the wrong way. And like it took him a second to register it. So as he's taking the second to register it, like he's still driving. And I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna ignore me. He doesn't care because he's here to kill me. Oh my god, this is how I die. Why would I ever take Uber? Why am I risking my life like this? Why didn't I just sleep over at my friend's house? Like, that's what's kind of going through my mind, because I'm a young woman, I'm alone, and it's very, very late. So he's like, oh. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, sir, you have to pick up someone else. You need to turn around. Like, he's like down there. So like, I was so happy that there would be someone else on the ride with me. So I was like, yeah, sir. Like, and I was like so scared. I was like hoping this guy doesn't cancel. And I was like, sir, yeah, you have to turn around. And I'm looking at the map, and I'm like, the map's like, we're here, and he's here, so we need to turn back around to go and get him. So then the guy was like, oh, okay, yeah. And he does a U-turn. So I'm like, whew. I'm like, okay. I don't know. Maybe he was lost or something, but I'm like, that's weird, because, you know, Uber is connected to your GPS. The GPS, especially on like my app, was not telling me to drive up there. You're literally driving away from my home, away from my area. You're driving on the west side, and I live on the east. So there's no way of like, oh, I didn't know, the map was weird and stuff like this. Like, no, it was clear. Plus, like, it showed you to pick up a guy, and you didn't. So we're driving down, and the guy like waves, like says, hey, and I said, like, sir, here he is, he's right here. So I was like, okay, whew. So he comes into the car, and I'm able to quickly see where he needs to be dropped off. And like, he needs to be dropped off like really, really close to me. So we're kind of going into the exact same area. I now figured out like what neighborhood it was in, but like he's in the same area. Like, he could practically walk from like my house to his house. So I kind of see where he has to go. Then the Uber driver, I realized he must have swiped that the job was completed, because we were, it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's like a scary movie. Watching that, like, you usually see like a marker of yourself on the map, and like with the destination, and then one by one, I was erased. Sorry, the guy was erased, then I was erased, and I was looking, and I was like, and like, this man is driving. So like, I'm confused, because I did not see this man memorize the address. He never made it apparent to us that he was, you know, from this neighborhood. He knew where it was. Even if he wanted to end driving, you don't just kind of swipe everybody and be like, they've been dropped off and stuff. And I see that, like, they asked me, like, oh, thanks for riding with Uber, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? And then, I'm trying to look at the driver's, phone to see, like, what he's doing and, like, where is this saying. And it's just showing him drive, like, just kind of no more directions. It's just showing him, like, what street he's driving on. So then I'm like, sir, I don't see us on the thing. And he was like, what? And stuff. And he just kept acting like, And I'm like, yeah, sir, I don't see, like, do you know where you're going, sir? Like, I can, like, guide you and tell you where to go. So I bust out Google Maps on my phone, and I was like, okay, sir, like, straight, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I guess the guy didn't have his phone or something, because he never once looked at his phone. But I told him, like, I told the guy, and I showed him my app, and I said, you're off the map, and it looks like my ride is finished, and it's probably the same for you. I don't know, he, like, must have swiped that he was, like, done the ride. And then I don't know why I told the man the story when I thought my suspected, like, kidnapper was in the car. I told the passenger the story of, like, he was driving the wrong way, and, like, he was supposed to stop and pick you up in, like less than a second, and he, like, chose to drive all the way down on the west side, and then I had to tell him to turn back around. And I'm like, I'm so glad you waited. And he was just like, yeah. He's like, I saw it, like, I didn't realize at first it was your guys' car, but I assumed because you guys were the only car that was driving near me that's supposed to be picking me up in, like, 1 second. And I was just like, yeah, this is weird. So then I'm like, okay, I saw the app say, like, it was technically supposed to drop you off first. Do you want me to put in your address? And he was just like, where are you going? And I showed him, like, on the map where I'm going, and he looked at it, and he kind of lives, like, 2 streets down in the neighborhoods, because I live where, like, apartment buildings are, but there's also neighborhoods, and he lived in the neighborhoods. So he saw where I was, and he was just like, no. He's like, let him drive to your house and drop us both off. Because, like, he was feeling weird too about this guy. So I'm like, are you sure? Like, luckily it was warmer outside versus now, because it's, like, really cold and it's in Canada. But he's like, no, just guide him to where your house is and drop him off. Drop us both off here. So I'm like, okay. So I told the guy, this is where we need to be. And he was just like, oh, I'm sorry about that. And he's like, oh, I'm new. I guess new to Uber or something. So then we're just like, okay. I did find out he was new to Uber, but that wasn't his first ride. We were, like, his, like, maybe 6th ride. So I was just like, okay, you're not that new. So we both get out of the car, and the guy tells me, like, thank you for having him turn back and pick me up and stuff like this. I don't know, he's a little bit, like, weird and stuff like this. And I told him, like, are you gonna be okay? I don't know, maybe that's, like, the Canadian in me, because we're kind of both trying to make sure that we're both okay. But, like, I was dropped at my place, so, like, my place is right here, but I know that he'd have to go into the neighborhoods, and it's dark, it's late outside, but then, like, I also, like, didn't remember to take into account that he's also a guy, so it's, I guess, more safer for him than, like, a woman. So he's like, no, he's like, this is fine, he's like, I'm just gonna jog back. I could use the exercise. And he went the opposite way. And, like, I just remember going, like, oh my god, I can't take Uber again. I can't do this, I'm done. That's how people get kidnapped and killed and blah blah blah. But I'm not gonna lie, like, I didn't stop taking Uber. It was just like a really bad experience with, especially with the way I was feeling. I wasn't like completely sober, but yeah, that ends my story of how I thought like I was going to die in an Uber. I thought he was going to kidnap me. I wasn't, like, I'm not even gonna lie, the amount of things that went through my mind. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Maybe I could buy it. Maybe I get fucked up. Next time I could save some. Why it's gotta be like this? Why it's gotta be that way? Put it inside. Feel so rise up. Banging on that loud shit like I've been Mike.